Also, I think at this point you're gonna start hearing a lot of the same stuff that we've talked about before, which is fine. It happens. Like a lot of the things are habits that take like time to break, but
Over here or over here?
I was
goal is
on
to.
mute the whole time, so just saying.
We're gonna get stragglers. I'm
There's
attracting more
that.
stragglers.
I'm gonna
I
pick
hope
on
Zed
you
doesn't
guys
run
a
into this
lot,
point
by the
really
way,
hard, then
support
we'll
team.
be able to get stragglers.
Actually, it switches right now.
And I get to pick on the tank line.
I'm gonna play this catwalk here.
Um,
And too bad Cater isn't here because I'd pick on her a lot.
If stuff goes down
yeah.
there.
Don't worry, she's got her
They're
personal
playing
goal
that.
this week,
They're
so
playing that.
you'll get your opportunity to pick on her.
All right, so we're gonna start with the get go. What's our plan with this setup here? We are Genji, Ashe, Anna, Dive Tanks, Mercy. What's our plans, mans?
To dive whatever supports they leave behind and have Ash pump extra damage in from behind in place of like a soldier.
All right,
But-
so early question for you guys. Why this support line, why this tank line, and why these DPS? Like just like walk us through what the idea is behind the setup, what the advantage is, and like what you're trying to accomplish with the comp that you have.
So the dive tanks, because there's a lot of high ground that you can take advantage of, on top of like a lot of mobility to punish, if they have like an Ana. The Mercy was to pocket the Ashe, then the Genji to help with dive tanks, and the Ana for like a long range support, and for nano blades.
Okay. As you know, I am a big fan of Mercy Ana on this map, but why not Zen?
No idea.
We were too afraid.
I have no idea about supports.
Okay.
I think the general idea is fine because if you have your Mercy sit on your Ashe and then she can hit her shots, she with damage boost one shots with headshot 200 HP heroes. So like this Genji, this Sombra, this Anna, this Lucio, they just get one shot, which is huge. But
I think it's fine, but I think you'll also need to consider stuff like barrier, matrix, deflect, like things that make it difficult for Ashe, right? Because like basically, especially with the Mercy pocketing her, you're kind of expecting Ashe to not like but you're expecting her to carry the majority of the damage so that the dive team can go in and finish off whoever she hits. Right? That's kind of your like because you don't have a Discord to kind of like do that for you. Basically, you're relying on Cater to hit a shot on a squishy and then you go dive that squishy after they're hit.
am I fair in taking a guess that the only reason you're playing Ashe is because they played at the map before?
Think so? Because I seem to remember that you guys were originally planning on Soldier, right?
Either soldier or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
I would just
Yeah.
find, like we talked about it before, and we kind of actually really like Ashe here in general over a Widow, just because I think the sight lines are a lot shorter, and it'd be easier for Ashe to kind of like survey and hit shots that Widow kind of tunnel visions on a bit too much.
She's also got it's not like survivability, but she's a bit better in close range if she gets dove than Widow would be.
Well, and I thought the dynamite damage, depending, like, no matter what choke or like which route they took, I thought that would be a lot of good damage, just like spread damage.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. And I think the other thing, the only is like if she gets dove, like she can't really throw it at herself. Like she can't just like throw it on the ground like a concussion mine because she'll take damage too. But it might be worth because you have the Mercy to res if that happens. I mean, I think overall, it's like I think the choice of running Ashe is totally fine. It's more that because you are running an Ashe.
Your game plan sort of changes from when you would be playing a soldier, how you guys originally laid everything out, and I think adjustments were necessary that didn't exactly happen.
And then also I think for these, and so this is kind of what we mean by like when you're running a meta or non, like this is a semi-meta comp, right? Like it's a version of what you would typically see here with like a soldier dive, except you're running the Genji instead of Tracer, which is fine, and then Widow or Soldier, which is also fine. The only thing is requires more healing than Tracer, and then also, what was I gonna say? Like this idea of like Ashe getting the majority of this kind of like damage boost resources, and then diving targets that she hits versus you guys engaging and then like Ashe just hitting whatever. So like your opening for a target that can be dived is A, isolation, and then B, have they already taken damage?
Which, I mean, your comp just in general without Ashe punishes in the first place. So it's almost like, why are you even here on Ashe or Genji?
And then also the other thing to be mindful of, right, is like if Ashe is getting this damage boost and Anna's, so it's like Anna, Mercy, and Ashe are playing together, then your dive team will not get a ton of healing resources. Like you're going to get as much as Anna can give you, but if you go out of line of sight or if she gets dove, healing you guys. So the three of you in your dive need to be very clean and very careful. So let's see what
Am I
happens.
going all the way around or top?
Yeah, they have
You hear
Sombra
them
Genji
behind?
though.
All right, so we can't hear the comms, but someone
They,
is.
they called it out for the Sombra. Here, I'll turn it up
Yeah,
a bit.
someone called out the Sombra, which is great.
Lumber, Genjiano, Lucio, dive tanks. Where are
I
they?
hear them over
Okay,
by us.
so here's where
The
it's
Sombra is doing
unfortunate that
fine.
Burger isn't here.
100%.
Spot
But
check, yeah.
anyway, this is kind of, I think, general map awareness and just approach awareness. So there's really, if you look at where you guys are, the reason that you're up here is that it's difficult to like access, right? There is literally only one access point. So when you're spy checking,
There's
really,
only really one place to really spy check.
yeah. So like just spam this, like Burger can just spam this doorway because that's the only way that she can get up here. Or if you see her translocator, then you know exactly where she is to begin with. And then like if he tries to jump up from the side, like it's gonna be either from the back if she jumps up around the corner, which you'll hear her if she does that, or it's gonna be through this door, which is probably gonna be through this door because you know that she locator on the mega downstairs. So yeah, she's coming up this back way. You guys, I think, almost catch her, and I think if you just like all spammed here, you would have found her, and it would have.
You're spy checking the wall. You're literally spy checking everywhere but that doorway.
Shit, we gotta.
Say, where are they gonna go?
We're gonna run around the back.
Right.
They're
So
back, they're back.
another thing, look at where they are, and then look at this. I'm going to take control for a second. Look at this space. Tanks. What were your thoughts about not being here? Freddie?
Ready?
I was on mute. Sorry. I was elaborating. So I was the one.
Swear to God, I'm gonna fucking turn off all of your mute functions.
Well, buddy, I have like people coming in and out of my room, and I just don't want to be interrupting y'all. So, excuse me for being polite. It's okay. But so before anything happened, there I was the one that called the Sombra that was scouting because nothing was happening.
Yeah, that was a
I
great
was-
call.
I was thoroughly like at that point confused because I felt like we shouldn't be letting her do that, but I didn't think of, oh yeah, that's the only spot that she can come from. So
And it's
Definitely
it's kind of a pain in the butt just because you don't want her to do that, but
Yeah.
that's her entire kit is doing
my
exactly
first
that.
thought was I wanted to say something and be like, hey, we need to like move now, like let's move. but I didn't know where to go. And I guess that concept of going over there just did not come to me. And when those guys were there, I was just like, okay, I'm frozen. So it was just not being able to make the decision, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
My issue.
And like that's fine.
It's hard like learning how to, especially on Winston, because it's kind of a weird Winston dynamic of identifying like this random safe space that gets you closer to them. You don't want to like directly engage with jetpack because that's how you get blown up like 75% of the time is you just jump in on 4 of them and then whoop, you're dead. But it's more of like maneuvering to spaces like here, or even like rotating around through here for poke, although this is a lot more dangerous to do in general. But just thinking of ways that you can approach, I'll say indirectly, where you're not just jumping in on them, but you're trying to get closer and poking and forcing attention your way so that the rest of your team can either push into them or rotate to a different space to pump in more damage.
I'm also gonna say too, it's not even like after you see them come in. It's like to start with, right? So if you think about Numbani and how you can approach this map, there's really only 3 ways to go, right? You can come through main here. You can come, actually, maybe, but really it's like 3.5. So you can come through top, or you can come from behind. And there's like the tunnel below with the mega, right? So it's like they can either come from behind and wrap around here, or they can come straight like through this little pathway for bottom door and main door.
For the most part, a lot of the stuff on the left-hand side, it's either going to put you on the point or it's going to put you on that back balcony. And
so basically, if the other team walks in, they're coming left from some direction, and as the main tank, like here, because you're Winston and you're like, oh shit, they're coming. Like if they're deathballing into you from here, you just jump out. You jump away.
I mean,
right?
it's in your name too, right? Where you want to make space and you want to claim this space as it is. Do you mind if I take control again?
Yeah.
As it is, like you just have this little block up here, and by them going around and you not just being prepared for like what they're about to do, Sombra has claimed all this. They've claimed all this because it's not like any sort of place you could stay.
Yeah. And now, in order to take any space here, and this is basically what happens, you now have to use your cooldowns to get over there. Whereas if you start like Sin and this is Diva, if they come from this direction, here, or here, like literally any of the pathways they come in, you literally can just like you just drop down on them.
I'll give you a cheat sheet real quick. So where you're standing is fine if they're coming main, because usually what's gonna happen is like the dive tanks are gonna come up to that top corner and you guys will poke back and forth while they like scout out your like back line and see where they can go. Then they'll drop down, get healed up, and then probably properly engage. But it sucks if they go all the way far left and you're not playing like a heavy like bunker comp. But if you take this balcony on the left, then you immediately cover anything that goes behind, like on the full backside. You cover anything that comes up the stairs right there. And if they go underneath you, you just sit on top and poke them, and they just take free damage trying to engage.
Yeah. So, and I think this also leads to one other concept that important for dive, right? Because as a dive team, you want a lot of space so that you can move around in it. And what you're really good at, so like Teg said, right? So dive is great at holding this kind of like verticality. Do you remember what happened in that one scrim with Dorado where you guys were, I think, playing goats into dive, right, on Dorado? Do you remember what they did that like really fucked you guys over?
I do not remember.
Okay, I'll take that as a no.
I remember on Hollywood, they just kind of set up on the balcony and poked down on it out of range.
Exactly. So it's like you're walking in and they just sit around you and then all shoot down, right? So on. there's 4 different angles of attack now. You're being like tasered over, like you're being tasered by Winston and Diva over here, and like with rockets over here. There's like DPS shooting. Like, who do you dive? It's a lot harder for them to decide who to dive, right? Because, well, shit, there are 4 targets. Where do we go? And then also, if they dive your supports here, you just counter dive them, and then you say, "What's up, dudes?" No, and we just use ours, and now we're all here. What are you going to do about it? So kind of like think about those kind of second mover advantage, because that's incredibly corporate. But kind of in a way, it's just like you're giving them less options for where they can go, or in a sense, you're giving them too many options. Whereas here, the way that you guys set up, you're all in this one area together. So like, where are they going to dive? Well, here, because that's where all of you are. You know, like, where else do they don't need to go anywhere else. They don't have to think about it. Because you're not this kind of like bunker comp. Like, you're not necessarily going to be able to like deal with them, because they're going to have that like the boop damage, the Winston jump pack damage, all that. Like, they get that extra damage in because they're engaging into you. So again, it's kind of like this dive defense positioning is too passive to be able to counter anything that they're going to throw at you.
Well, we'll boil this down even further for you too. So like, think about, especially on defense, but you can sort of take this concept and put it on offense too. How are you gonna do damage to them without like blowing cooldowns? Do you want to be as efficient with your cooldowns as possible, because you need them in case shit changes, right? You need Winston jump in case they try to dive past you and you just jump. You want to jump back and peel for your supports or things like that, but you want to be able to disrupt them without like blowing your cooldowns to do so.
And then in addition to that, I know this is kind of info overload, but so TLDR, tanks in a dive comp tried to set up so that, especially where there's a lot of this kind of like high ground, set up so that you're surrounding the other team as they come in, and that they can't easily shield in just one direction. Okay. Second aspect of that, and why it's really good, is if your tank is here and your like support is here, and maybe your DPS is like here or whatever, right? Let's just say Mercy. If Sombra tries to like fuck with her, she just goes whatevs, and then if they go over here, she's diving over here. Like, on Mercy, personally, I found that when my team sets up in kind of like a triangle, it is really super, or even 2 points works too. It's like, it's so easy to escape. You always have somewhere to go, right? Like, if they jump over here, you just don't be there. And you have like different options where you can go to not die. And that is incredibly helpful if you're playing with the Mercy. So something to be mindful of if you're setting up.
Yeah. Information overload. Let's start watching. So this is very unfortunate because Burger falls down right here. Oh, let me take my control. Woo.
Back to back. Coast.
Burger falls down.
I'm gonna dive stairs on the Ana.
Has to jump back up.
2,
Somber's
1.
Summer sleeping.
And then this is when Porters is like, let's go dive this Ana.
Yeah. Very split. Their entire team over here. Then half of you dying, other half trying to kill an Ana and taking a long ass time to do it.
I will say this dive is kind of okay. Like, the call itself is kind of okay because obviously her team is not able to help her.
It's just that unfortunate circumstance of Burger having to blow his cooldown to reposition himself, and then like people just not being ready to engage.
But at the same time, it's almost kind of a good thing because he's here to kind of like try and help deter the counter dive. And then it's still like a 2v1 on the Ana, right? So it's Freddy and it's Tegs, and I think it takes you guys a long time because she probably gets the midi in the room here.
I made an incorrect call of a sleep dart, but I still regret it. I got text left.
Yeah, I got it.
Using got left.
That is unlucky.
You got got.
Yeah.
You got got.
I thought I heard it, and apparently I did not. So.
I mean that's fine though. But again, you know, imagine if you were like here and you just walk in and
So,
be
like-
like, what's up, girl?"
Yeah. I mean, it's fine because like the thing that would normally Savage do in this situation is if Burger can tank and DM enough damage to keep the rest of the team alive while like Ash fights back.
They almost did.
You
They
guys,
got the nade off.
you guys would kill the Ana. Well, hopefully your time to kill in this Ana would be super quick, and then you just immediately like rotate the back, and then you get to
Like,
sandwich them
yeah.
with your diva.
Yep,
Exactly.
you come back in
Work
and
that
then
way.
like destroy them here. Part of the issue and why this doesn't happen is I think Winston uses jump pack, Elysian dies around here, and then Dragon dies inside the tunnel because you've like
You
let's watch it.
essentially like
let's watch
yeah.
it and then like walk me through your thought process here.
Yeah, I tried
'cause
to retreat into the tunnel, and it wasn't a good idea.
you actually started out in a safe position and then you flew into your death, and this is like
I'm asleep.
Classic.
Honest to look.
I'm trapped back here.
It legit could have worked if we killed the Ana fast enough because they had the nade.
Three on fire.
The really good nade that was there.
I'm on point. I'm just on point. Get the Lucio sweet.
No,
okay, so now you guys are split because Burger is like, well, oh shit, everyone's dead over here. Let me go join my team, but you guys have already left. So I think in terms of calling for your tanks, like he's trying to be in the right place, just behind you guys, because I think you're talking more about where I am now and less about where I plan to be next.
Yeah, but I mean, going back to the absolute beginning of this too is just kind of unfortunate because you guys, you rotate toward this tunnel, and unfortunately, Burger kind of goes the other way.
Yeah, separate. Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of
Boosters weren't there,
separates
too.
you guys, and then you guys end up just walking further away down the tunnel trying to get to safety. And I totally understand that because I've done that too, where it's like, oh, this is like the safe place. I need to walk here because it's safe, but in reality, you're just isolating yourself even further, and then you just die, and it just takes that slightly a little bit longer.
Then also on that note, Dragon, potentially something that could have helped is if you say like, oh shit, we're stuck in the tunnel, and then maybe Tegs comes here to pick you up so that you guys can both rotate this way. Because like Genji has mobility, and then Mercy, you can just fly to him, and like maybe that gets you out. But I think for you, think about when you just need to bail the fuck out, because like Elysian's.
Yeah, I shouldn't have been in it.
Not only that
Elysian's
too,
dead.
I just realized something. Cater's down here, like bottom right.
You could have.
You could have jumped away toward Cater.
Actually, it might have been hard because the tanks are body blocking the line of sight, I think. But like yeah, like Cater, I think you were by Cater, and then you flew in to help Elysian when really you should have just stayed where you were.
Yeah, you just fly in to
There's
5
no,
people.
Like,
Trying to
yeah,
get here,
like you do not ever want to fly into this, because here's the thing: if Elysian dies and you okay, yeah, let me just draw this out for a second. So he's dead, right? Say you hang out back here with Cater, you're damage boosting her, she kills Bubble, maybe she finishes off some of these like low, because like he gets a really good nade off before he dies. So maybe Cater finishes off some of them, right? And then they have to like leave because they're like, oh shit, we're being shot at by a damage boosted Ash. And then once they vacate that space, you just fly in and res him. So like your job is to not die. Literally as Mercy, your job is to not die because you have the ability to bring someone else back from death. So like if they die, especially if it's like one person dying, you need to fly into them. That's not your job. Your job is to not die yourself, because by dying, you lost this fight completely because now you guys have no supports at all.
And I mean, this is definitely not to take away from them because they did a very good job of like kind of isolating you guys and ignoring the counter dive that was happening. But there was also this unfortunate circumstance if we like go a little bit because Burger repositions himself. If you were still with Cater on Ash down here, then Burger is also in the way protecting you guys, and it's much harder for them just to like walk through him to get to you guys. So then you have a Diva and a damage boosted Ash just pumping damage into that like small space. They either need to drop down on a point for safety, in which case you still get to rain damage from above, or like they need to rotate into tunnel where there's
And you
the
also
other
get
half of
free
your
res.
team waiting. And you still get a
Yeah.
free res.
Yeah.
Then also at this point, Freddy and Tegs have killed their Anna, so then that means you're one up, right? So like the thing about running Mercy, if you're gonna run a Mercy, you have to get resurrections and you have to be smart about your like choices about how to do that, because otherwise there is no utility to Mercy, pretty much. Like there's very little utility for her right now. So like I would say Mercy gameplay right now is probably 90% mind games of like
Staying
Get away with
alive and getting
ability.
away.
yeah.
And then damage boosting and rezzing.
And that's like pretty much every support is your goal is basically to not die. But I think on Mercy it's even more important because that is
Your
Primary
entire value
utility.
is in an ability that you only get once every 30 seconds.
Back, 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 back.
I'm asleep. Anna's still low.
I'm trapped back here.
So I'll do this again. The other thing too is I saw no defense matrix from Burger, which is like it's like okay and not really, because I mean a Winston is still zapping your Anna, which defense matrix isn't really gonna stop, but they're
I
still.
wonder he might have I don't know if he
He would've
ran
used
out
it
of
on
it
the
early.
Sombra.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he might have been using it on the
He's
Sombra.
already kind of low.
Fair enough. In that case too, it's just like the only other thing I could think of is body blocking, but I know Bunny Hop was probably on cooldown or just about to come off cooldown, because you boosted back toward that position.
Look at Tex sleeping.
Okay, so seeing
We still haven't killed that Anna, by the way.
Still haven't killed that Anna.
So they've killed both your supports, and the two of you still have not killed the Anna. Okay, so at this point, Burger actually,
She's dead, she's dead, she's dead.
instead of flying over here to help healers,
This
I would
this
start-
kind of was like a
I'm an asshole.
yeah.
This is a miscommunication, just because like Burger comes in to finally help you guys, and then you two just bail on him. I mean, not that you were aware that he was coming, but it's just
Yeah,
unfortunate and kind of really funny.
I feel bad.
on
But
point,
also
I'm on
at
point,
this
get the-
point, you should be moving towards like you've lost both your supports. You're not going to win any head-to-head fights. They're all really low, so it's unfortunate that like none of them die. But like if you pull back into that corner in the back, like with that,
Yeah, if you go down to like streets, like toward your spawn,
or even here, just somewhere with a little more cover where you can contest or rotate contesting and still poke at them and like basically stall for your supports to come back.
you're definitely in. We're down on numbers. We just need to like disengage or just like very lightly stall while the rest of our team respawns, because this point is really weird because both spawns are like decently far away. It's not like one team really has spawn advantage over another.
Yeah.
So like if you can just barely hang on to the point and feel free to give up like a tick or two, you could get literally almost a full regroup and a full like re-engage on here.
Also gonna point out this right here. They're all super low. Sure, like I think if you guys had focused literally any of these targets, they would have died. So I think we're here killing two. So it's like actually maybe if you and Tegs hadn't jumped out when you did, if Burger had told you that he was coming to help you, you probably win this fight actually over here. So another thing on just like communicating when you're moving and what you plan on doing next, especially between main tank and off tank, will help a lot. Because I like there are a couple of times where Burger's like either a step behind you or not ready to follow you, and then you guys get split up, and then kind of like fucks both of you over because you're not together.
I'm asleep.
Yeah.
Anna's still low.
I'm trapped back here.
And that's the other thing too, is like Cater can, like if you guys play over here, I know it's kind of a crap place to be in general, but if you end up in this area for whatever reason,
You're getting free damage.
Cater gets free damage because she can rotate toward more like the main choke on that high ground, and she then still has like a sight line over here, and she gets to pump in onto the tanks and the Sombra.
Like And in the meantime, no one's bothering her because they just all use their cooldowns.
Yeah, they're all blowing
Cooldown
cooldowns to
device.
re-engage onto you guys, so it's like that's literally free for her.
So actually, yeah. So here, if you look at their health pool and where you guys are, if the three of you just stay here, I think you actually murder.
This
like,
this
all of
fight
them.
actually was probably really winnable.
Yeah.
It's kind of easy for us to like nitpick at it because we're fucking on top-down view and we get to see
Yeah.
all their health pools.
Yeah.
But
and it's
even
in hindsight, so.
even after like all of that stuff happened, they all had this really good dive. They killed both your healers. They split your team. This fight was still winnable.
As long as you guys stay together.
Stay on fire.
I'm on point. I'm just on point. Get the Lucio.
No, Diva, then
There's
Lucio.
stairs. Yeah.
Talk me through that bubble.
I looked down at my phone. Could you repeat that, please?
Talk me through this bubble, please. I'll
Okay.
replay this real quick.
I'm just on point. Get the Lucio.
No, Diva, then
There's
Lucio.
stairs. Yeah.
Well, I know I saw my two teammates there, so it might have been just me seeing the Winston bubble and just tunnel vision.
Just
I got two
blowing it.
teammates near me below it to protect them, but nothing's really coming in at us.
It's Cater and take their full health. And Cater shouldn't be here anyway. Cater should still be on the high ground.
Yep.
But like, takes his tools. He can,
And also, imagine if you had dropped your bubble here.
I mean, jump pack
yeah.
probably wasn't on cooldown at this point, but like, I think this bubble could have. You just
Yeah,
kind of blew
he
this
just-
cooldown
he
for
just
like
used-
no reason.
No reason. Yeah, he just used jump pack to get here. So I think he's probably nervous because he's like half health and they don't have supports. But in that case, honestly, if you're that nervous about it, I would be chilling like over here in this corner,
Or like even
telling Cater to play this corner so that you can taxi your Mercy back as quickly as possible. Because right now, Mercy's running from like all the way fucking over here.
Or even do what we
Typically
said to
interview.
do, where like you can like run into here, or maybe even like kind of more sketchy, but push down here because you could push into. There's a squishy down here, and there's that mega, which
It's probably hacked though.
probably hacked,
So,
but I mean,
yeah.
it's cover.
Yeah, I think in this case, probably, I would say, probably go streets just so you can taxi Dragon back to the fight earlier.
Yeah, your
Like he's
bubble
getting
your
all
bubble
charged.
cooldown is like stupidly long, and it's not a cooldown you should just be blowing for no reason.
Nice.
cool.
Keep in mind you're without healer still. I'm almost back though.
It's fine on the Winston on point. Winston.
And that's just kind of unfortunate because like the one thing that was in your bubble gets pushed by a Winston who doesn't care about your bubble,
Also, because she shouldn't have been there in the first
and
place.
she shouldn't have been there in the first place. Cater, you needed to stay up here.
Yeah.
You're
But
an
also-
Ash. You're not taking like close range fights.
Also, if you had stayed up there, you could also have Taxi Dragon just by virtue of being up there.
Yeah, or
And
like
standing closer to that edge.
yeah, and you can also like drop down to like the street too to like get a little bit closer to taxi, and then like it's kind of more like dangerous. But you could also like just stand here. You play this corner, and you get to still pump damage over the point.
Then just save Coach Gun and jump back up once Mercy gets back.
Yeah, you have Coach Gun. You get to go back to the high ground for free.
Yeah, so then you go back to the high ground and you take Mercy with you, and then Dragon has a safe space to play from,
Yeah.
where he can like run around the catwalk and heal people and run to Burger if he needs it. But yeah, so I think like, right, so a couple of communication things. That was actually a winnable. That was still actually a winnable fight, like we said earlier. It's just like make sure that you're communicating with each other and also staying together as a group so that you're not getting picked off one by one, which is pretty much what happens.
Lucio
Lucio's on fire.
on point.
I'm dead.
And you,
I'm peeking main for him.
you jump in, they all peel on you, 5v1.
Back.
That
So
was-
Dragon dying here is fine. Cater.
I thought she didn't have sleep. I thought I heard it. I'm sorry for that.
Okay, so Burger probably should have jumped off the map or just gotten out.
He dies quick enough. You, however, Cater, you have no business being here.
Here's the thing. At this point, they've gotten one tick. The goal is not to like stalling isn't actually going to do anything. You need to just regroup.
Because like this spawn is brutal if you get split
Yeah.
spawn here. This is a Numbani, like point B is probably, in my opinion, the worst split spawn in the entire game.
And that's also why B is such an easy snowball. That's part of the reason, but also it's just like you just get so much free space on B that if you guys even lose like when it's dead, you should all be like running the fuck away and respawning as soon as possible so that you can actually take position on B instead of letting them have it for free.
That is the worst bit, is that you attempt to run away, you get this health pack, and you're just staggering yourself. Dragon tries to help. It's too late.
I think he might. Does he also die?
You're gonna have EMP and Blade soon.
survive.
No, I think I got it.
Oh, he's free.
Okay. So this is actually that was a great jump up to the high ground. By the way,
Yeah.
This is a great jump. This is where you want to be, and then I think you leave and die.
That doesn't sound like me.
So this blade is kind of unfortunate. I don't want to say this blade was unnecessary, but it does a good job of staggering you guys even further. I think this blade was beatable, but
Oh yeah, no, it definitely.
Yeah.
I missed the melee. I missed my melee.
I missed the punch. I'm hacked.
Did you have Winston ult when he used blade? Actually,
Uh,
did you already have it?
no.
Because you you get
It's
it.
right there. I get it.
Let's see when.
there's a
Okay,
good
Never mind.
yeah.
There's nothing you could have done. I was gonna say if you
No, I
have
would've.
primal, yeah.
Definitely would have. It's done. Definitely would have.
He's anti.
That was a really good nade.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, dragon. If you just stayed up here,
Yeah. If you
stay on the balcony.
if you get to stay on the balcony, I think you would have been okay. I mean, at least he has to blow dash to just get up there in the first place, so he's not gonna
Yeah.
dash slash you. He's gonna dash at you, and then he has to slash. You're low enough to where I think the slash just straight up kills you. But I mean, it gives you the opportunity to like escape.
But also, it's about done. So Blade is 7 swings. He's already killed 2. That means he has maybe like a swing and a half left or something like that. So
Like three swings at worst.
Yeah. So one of you probably. I know Freddy, you were trying to kill him. I don't know if you probably didn't have it on cooldown, but if you jump up here and then both of you just disengage. Into that
Freddy
mini
tried
pattern-
to jump onto the Genji as he killed someone and the Genji got a dash reset to get away from him.
Yeah. I tried to jump melee.
So like it's I think we talked about this either last VOD review or any VOD review where you guys get wiped by a massive blade. But like if you just survive the first dash and swing attempt and get away from him, he's literally just like a sitting duck, because all he does, he has no dash reset, he has no mobility really. He just kind of like swings at air and he looks really funny. But if he
you back away and try to kill him.
yeah, but if he gets these dash resets, it's just annoying because then he's literally everywhere.
Yeah, so then also Dragon, so you were like up here, instead of flying down to your Winston, I would just run the fuck away. If he die, like you guys have to reset either way. If he dies, he dies.
Freddy's a big boy. He can tank those swings.
So he either like Pores either tanks the swings or he gets the fuck out or he dies, but either way you guys need to reset, so you as Mercy especially need to get the fuck out.
And then like if you're still up here and he tries to like dash up towards you, if Freddy's still on the low ground, you can just Guardian Angel just Freddy. He has no dash reset. He's just kind of like a dork sitting on the high ground swinging his sword
If
around.
he does that, I still have my jump cooldown, I think.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
'Cause he's still up there. 'Cause I'm not going to do that if he's still up there.
It's this weird case of
but-
like you want to like, it's again going back to the first point. Your job is to stay alive right now, and like your best bet of staying alive is for you to be almost as split as you can be, but within a distance to guardian angel toward him if you need to.
Yeah.
Because you
So
just need to
actually-
ditch this Genji in a way where he's used a dash and he hasn't killed anything.
Okay, so actually, let's continue forward, and then there's something I want to point out that might work, but
I missed the punch.
alright. So you just flew into like 4 people. Can you pause for a second?
Sure.
Oh, this is a little far forward, but so you die. Let's see, you die like right here, somewhere around here, right?
You want me to go back real quick?
That's fine. So all of them are. Ooh.
Ooh. There we go. Yeah. Take control, maybe. There we go.
So all of them are kind of, or, what's going on?
Okay, take control again. Just click the
Oh.
flag.
It's not letting me take control anymore. I think we bugged it.
We're experiencing some technological.
Anyway, okay, so I'll just try to describe as best as I can. So like basically like at that point, 4 of them are probably on this checkpoint, right? And like then someone else is like still around this corner, maybe straggling. The space where Tegs and Elysian died is actually free. So like if all of you survive, it might actually be worth, because he can jump up to the high ground and be safe, and that reduces like your regroup time. Coming up on blades so he can like farm a little bit. Like that's okay. I will say it's a risky res. It might not pay off, but in terms of like when to use it and timing and like opportunities, like look for things like that where just like this big fight happened, the other team thinks they're getting away, and then that's like those are the moments when you want to go for this res because they're least likely to have their cooldowns to like interrupt you and also like kill you. In this case, because Tegs doesn't have Blade yet, like probably not. But if he had Blade and you res him there, like maybe he gets a damage boosted 4K, right? Right when they think they won. So it's like opportunities like that is like what you want to think about on Mercy. And if you look at like Elysian and Tegs and you're like, well, Elysian's slow as fuck, he's just gonna die again. Tegs doesn't have Blade yet, so it doesn't matter. I should just leave so that I can be with my team. Like in terms of just like you'll want to think about stuff like that because like a lot of times worth more than others, and I think you know that being a Mercy main. And just but also be aware of like could be good for you guys and when it's not a good idea, and sometimes you don't have to blow it, right? And like is staying alive, so if you're likely to die for the res, like that res had better basically get a team kill.
Brigida.
Okay, I'll swap to her in a minute. I have Bob.
I have Bob. Alright, so I'm swapping Orion.
Oh,
Especially
God.
if they're going
Oh, no.
I actually kind of like this play coming up.
Oh, okay. You saw him go by himself. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, well.
Right now, Divas.
Does anyone know what happened right here?
Yeah, I was wondering why you didn't get hacked. Oh, did he flick him?
No. Something else. Something else happened here.
He eats doesn't he eat something? You're not.
Actually, does he eat? I was talking about the Bob flank.
Okay.
You
JK,
gotta
JK.
burn that
Oh, the
Bob
Bob flank.
sorry.
Oh, I forgot about the Bob flank. That was a good flank.
Right now, Divas are paid.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Cater totally solos on the high ground, throws down a Bob,
Jumps down with him.
jumps out with it, and
Peter!
which I mean,
Stay up on
that's
the ground.
gross, but this Bob does work.
You had him back?
That Bob gave us all that space back. That's sick.
I'm sorry.
That Bob did
Get him,
work.
Bob!
Bob did something.
That was awesome.
Bob was MVP.
Bob
That
MVP
is
right there.
that
That was kind of like this crazy like. It's this weird solo play, which normally like, you. This is like a solo queue play, right? This shit works
That
on
was
ladder. This
that
shit
was a
normally
really
doesn't
play.
work here, but it was really funny and it worked, and I'm not gonna complain about it. But that was a solo queue and a half play.
Next time we can
But it was great.
actually do that. Like that's a legit plan.
But it was legit funny. You flank bobbed. That's funny.
And also, it was exactly what you guys needed in order to reset.
Yeah, you guys kind of needed this ballsy play to like regain this space, and I mean it just happened.
Do something, Bob.
Great ult. Great ult.
That was a great ult.
Just stay on high ground next time.
Yeah.
Like, use
Turtle
it.
turret.
You don't need to jump down with Bob. Bob's a big boy.
Nano Blade this fight?
Genji, but no other swaps here.
So look at all the space you get back. The only unfortunate thing here is that Pors was expecting them to get C, so he's already on Rhine. Even
Yeah.
though B is still a better
Well,
one
I
than
also
that.
saw that they had a torp too.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hey.
I didn't know that was the correct switch for torp, but I thought it helped. So they-
It's fine. I mean, it should be everyone's like.
Can you
It'd be like Burger and like
to try to
Ash's
help?
job, which. Speaking of, why are you here?
Also, against Torb, I prefer Orisa just because you can like deal with the turret by yourself instead of relying on your team. And then also, if you look at their comp, they're running Torb with Winston Diva, which doesn't provide the turret like a lot of so you kind of is like a free...
It's a free kill, and if Burger does his job and like kind of sits on you when they try to jump you as Orisa, you guys just shred them.
pretty much.
It's so weird like playing Orisa at times. Like it's weird knowing when and when not to pull her out, and there's this.
I love playing her so much.
She is underused in certain situations. It feels weird playing her, but like this is a really
I wanna
weird
play her all the
time where
time.
like you could actually play Orisa.
Yeah, and it's probably actually also a better pick than Ryan because Ryan is incredibly vulnerable to the Sombra. Whereas like Orisa, like, okay, you might not have Fortify, but in general, she's gonna have a hard time hacking you like in between shield casts because your shield lasts so long and they don't really have shield break.
Yeah. So like, if you
So,
throw a
like-
shield and get hacked, it's sort of fine. Because the hack like disables, and then all of a sudden you have your cooldown back already because it just came off cooldown. I think Fortify also stops hacking, correct?
Yeah, it does. But you have to be like you have to be really because it's an anti-CC ability. So basically you have to cast it before her animation finishes, but given that the hack animation is 0.65 seconds, it's incredibly
Literally a
difficult.
half-second like reaction, plus
just gotta
whatever
listen.
latency you have.
Because Sombra's hack makes a noise, even if it's not technically touching anybody. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
So if she doesn't directly lock on you, you just listen. You can time it. I've done it.
So like it's incredibly difficult to time it, but it's doable.
Just gotta listen.
It's
So
it's
clearly-
kind of the same on Diva, where like if she tries to hack you on Diva, and if you react fast enough, you can actually like rotate and like shoot her with like a pellet, and it stops hack. But it's such a hard like thing to react to. I can't. It's so hard. If I play on East Coast servers, I can't do it.
Also one other thing about the benefit of Orisa against Sombra Torb is that it's actually a lot harder for Sombra to disable Orisa's shield because she has to hit like the projector thing. So if you throw it, like for instance, I still can't take control. Rip. If you throw it like around the corner in front of the cart, like obviously you don't know where Sombra is, right? But
You want to throw it like here?
the other way. Yeah. So like you don't know where Sombra is, but if she EMPs exactly where she is, like your shield might not even go down, and then this like hack bomb combo maybe isn't as effective. Like no promises, but I do know shield is like weird against EMP. Like it doesn't go down sometimes if she's not hitting. Like Winston Barrier is the same way because there's that projector in the center. So like you have to have LOS to the projector and not just like any part of the shield. Whereas like Ryan is very straightforward because you just hit him and his shield dies because he's holding it. So
Back
something
to
to consider.
yeah. Back to my original point, Cater. Why are you here? Ash isn't exactly a hero you chase with either, and if you were on the high ground still where you belong, like, and you can like push up here, Like you get to pump
Rotate
down
for
onto
free.
this Winston. This Sombra's gonna EMP and then she's gonna try to do things. If you like headshot her, she just dies. You also don't get EMP'd, which is kind of big. I don't
Also, the good thing about being on high ground here is that this balcony actually connects to the other side, so it's a very easy rotation for you to look out through like that door facing their spot, like the attacker spawn, and also this part right here that we're looking at where the cart is. Like you literally just run between these two doors if you need to in order to rotate, and you still have like really good line of sight.
And this accomplishes what you want, because I assume you're chasing something, or you're trying to push like a squishy or something. But if you're on this high ground, you get to do the same thing anyway, because you just push through the door, you get on that like little ledge that's on the other side here, and then you just get pot shots. And then when they start to engage, you just back up. You have your
And
high
then
ground.
it also puts you in position to be over the cart and to help your team who are on the cart if need be.
It gives Dragon an escape.
Yeah.
On,
you won't be
and
down
on,
there with-
and on, and on, and on.
If you're not gonna do that with Widow, why are you gonna do that with Ash?
Pretty much.
I don't know, sleep.
Sombra, no,
Where did this
Okay.
bomb even happen?
Counter bomb.
I don't even fucking know.
The old counter bomb.
Alright.
By the way,
EMP
should have bailed you guys out of.
can you?
Like, you guys actually should have won more fights off of this bomb.
Slept. I don't know.
That was just really funny though, that you died to that.
Yeah. I like that no one else dies to the EMP bomb except for Burger.
I know.
And the Sombra just. That was a good res, but I think you die here.
Yeah, because turret's still alive.
Yep.
Alright, they still have the these bomb there.
And this is also why Ryan is really difficult against turret, because you can't. A, it's difficult for you to kill it yourself, and B, you can't shield while you're like doing damage. Whereas Arisa does both simultaneously.
This Lucio's red at Lucioing. Is he empty? Kill him.
Even though Burger gets like this amazing bomb,
I
I
swear.
still lose that fight, which is
You-
what.
Elysian hits like the last shot on this Lucio to punish him.
And
When.
he.
Oh my god.
Oh, nice.
What? This is funny.
This Lucio's red at Lucioing.
Just
Well,
poor
Lucio's
poor
gonna
Burger
do it.
trying his very best. Poor Burger. Ah. That was a sick shot though.
Oh.
And then, guess who's here? It's a Winston to split you apart.
Monkey, what is this monkey doing?
What is that monkey doing? Exactly what he's supposed to do.
I mean, miss my charge and everything.
Now their entire team is here to help him. Or not their entire team, but the dive half of their team is here to help him.
Alright,
Yeah.
can you
I'm reloading, I'm reloading, I'm sorry.
2 seconds?
God damn.
Yeah.
3, 2, I'm hex.
Nope, 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 nope.
Like private's like, I just don't want my guys to get shot.
Nano Diva Super, don't wake her.
Oh, I didn't.
Alright,
too.
anime? Go ahead.
Look at the dance I do to get out of that shit.
Yeah. It's just like you all. Look at this. We can't even keep all of you on screen.
And also, here's the other side of as much range. Because here's the thing: they have this turret, and then you made Cater swap to Brig, and now you have like 0 range damage except for Elysian. So this turret is just firing for free, and poor Tegs has to waste like half of his ult just killing the turret because the turret is 250 HP.
My man's blading a turret.
He kills the Ana, and his second kill is the turret, and he doesn't get anyone else.
Lucio health.
And turrets don't give dash resets either. Feels bad, man. This is a bit where just like you guys struggle and the communication just breaks down, and then all of a sudden you're just like all over the place.
Also, one other thing. Can you pause for a second?
Sure.
Why is Cater on Brig? You have two healers with huge healing output. Why do you need a Brig? What is the Brig for?
Wish I was hearing the comms there,
Because you're afraid to dive, because Elysian said, you know what's good against dive? Brig.
Which is true, but you know what? You know who else could have gone Brig? Dragon.
Yeah.
What's Mercy doing in those comp?
There's nothing for this Mercy to like damage boost, and you don't get any value off res. Like the only thing you can is like Blade, but it's like a very like narrow function, and then what are you gonna do the rest of the time he doesn't have ult?
And also, because you lost that range damage against the Torb, like, the turret just kind of lives forever, and and Tags has to blade it.
My man's has to blade a turret. He
But, like,
bladed a turret.
so like just like think about up and what you have and who should actually be going brig, right? Because do you really need 3 supports in this comp against what they're running?
Not entirely, because like they're not even like
And also-
outputting a bunch of damage
They
either.
weren't dropping a ton of damage.
If so, are these the 3 supports that you need and why? Right? So like maybe your call is not Cater use ult and go brig. Maybe your call is Dragon use Valk and go brig. And then you have an Anna and a brig, and you have an Ashe with probably another Bob coming up. That stalling the point at the end.
And the Ashe can
Because
take
there's,
care
like-
of this turret that they're actually like literally not protecting. You guys are slightly getting BM'd here. Not gonna lie.
I thought about calling them out, but then I was like, actually, it's working, so like, what are you
Let her
gonna
go.
do?
Yeah.
Let her go. Let her go. Let her go. Get behind my shield.
Nope, 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 nope,
Get her,
nope,
get
nope,
her.
nope.
Now we're gonna have to get her.
I'm very confused in general how this fight just kind of like lays out.
Nice.
I think Burger is just like really highly
Kill the cart,
charged,
close one on cart.
and the blade does just enough to deter them.
Diva now, Diva.
Diva, get the Diva.
Also, they're all like out of position
Let her go. Let her go. Let her go.
because
They were down when that fight started, and it just
like their Lucio frontline, like their Lucio tried to BM frontline and Reddit Lucio and died for it, and they have like nothing. So now they're like, well, we lost that, so we're back to not playing BM, I guess.
They have a.
I think they saw the Valk boosted blade and just ran.
Yeah.
They're still gonna have nano.
Probably.
Have they
Well, like
EMP'd?
Valk plus Nano Boost Blade, which is quite scary.
Not lately, no. Last time they EMP'd was with bombs. They probably have.
Yeah, so
EMP,
Cater
bomb,
should be
and
spy checking.
nano.
Alright, so try to play around cover here.
Cater's gotta be up there with me. I don't know why she's back there.
And it's fine for her to like kind of be there against dive because she could quote unquote catch a dive if they jump over you and like get your back line. She should be with you if they play their own Rhine, and then that way you can bully the Rhine and bully the front line. But against dive like this, it's fine for her to kind of be back with her supports to catch the dive.
Alright.
Alright, so this EMP comes in. I think also at this point you guys are like kind of sort of freaking out a little bit, I think, because you're not tracking their ults as well. Or tracking EMP at all in the fight.
Yeah, you guys are very like surprised every time they like throw out an ult. There is no like tracking.
And also, yeah, and then also you guys are like clumped together really tightly, which is understandable, right? Because you're running kind of like this like
You're running
Pretty
a
much a
Rhine Zarya
double.
comp with a brig. Like it's fine to be like sort of collapsed in, especially against dive, where like if they try to engage in you, they're engaging into this like massive pile of meat, and they should get blown up. But they're
The
also
only
playing
thing I would
Sombra.
say, they're also playing Sombra, so you guys need to be a lot more mindful of like positioning yourselves, like close enough that you can help each other if a fight actually starts, but also close enough to cover that you can like just like make it hard for her to EMP all of you,
Yeah.
right?
Like
So,
you can
Burger-
you can play like sort of close, but you can also like line of sight with this corner right here in the cart, or like some people could more risky play within like this like staircase where you don't get EMP'd.
But like if Burger's like hugging this wall, Dragon's inside the hallway, maybe a Legion is inside the mini health pack room or something. You know what I mean? Or like Cater's inside there, then it's a lot harder for that EMP to hit as many people as it
Yeah.
does.
I mean, going back, like this, where you guys were like set up and where you kind of positioned was fine, except for the fact they had EMP. If you guys were tracking the fact that they had EMP, you could have
Yes.
set up differently to minimize this. And that's kind of the importance of tracking ults, just in general.
Here, now we're late.
Bomb for bomb.
You're fine, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit, I'm dead.
Welcome.
Manted.
I have rally.
I'm getting. I got cut
I'll
off.
drag at the res if possible.
I have
I don't want
Dragging at them.
I'm gonna try to get out, but they absolutely.
And they just
So
do a
they
great
clean
job
up.
of just
Cleaning up after the EMP. This is very best to stall as long as we can on the cart but can't get out.
time to watch a Ryan get blown up. Hacked, stunned.
Just use whatever we can.
You touch the cart.
Touch the cart. That's the important bit.
It's actually a really good grab. Unfortunately, you guys don't get
Okay,
to
one on
one.
point.
Yeah.
So this is where mechanics I think fail you because
Oh, there's 2 shattered left side.
okay. On attack, mechanics really fail you guys.
Yeah.
Oh man, I already know there's one play on attack after second point that's gonna be real rough
Okay.
to watch.
So actually, I'm gonna while we're paused here. So Dragon, you swap to Moira, which is good because Moira has like really good survivability, and you also build ult really fast. If you get hacked by a Sombra, I would actually say, unless your teammates have ults coming up and they're like absolutely have to heal them, I would actually prioritize doing damage because Sombra's hack does not actually cancel your passive. So you can still heal yourself and keep it. Because like once she hacks you, she's gonna try to kill you, right? So like if you just like suck her, then she has to bail anyway, because
She's just not gonna kill you fast enough, and then you're
yeah, like if you AD and like crouch spam and just like suck, she has to back out unless she's like a god.
I also do like this this hamster switch because you end up stalling a lot and do really good work. Just spin to win.
What I'm doing with
I
my
had-
To win.
I had Blade when I came out. Wasn't
There were a couple
stalling.
times that happened, I
And a
believe.
monkey.
Worked surprisingly well, even though, you know, they have a stopper and a McCree.
Like, he's just
Actually,
going.
Jack-
A lot of
Like,
things
and
like
here's the funny thing. Being around the cart actually gives you guys room to not be on the cart, and there are a couple of points where the rest of you completely abandon it, and the fact that he's swinging around the cart is the only reason that it's not being pushed.
I mean, it's a good thing because like think of, we'll give an example. Think of Hanamura point B, right? And there's like an Ana or like some sort of DPS that's like on the high ground. They're all on point. You guys are like staggering yourself. You guys are like trickling in, trying to like stall out. If you get to a point where like your tanks get onto the point and they start stalling, or like in this case with the Hammond spinning around on cart, it gives one of your flanker DPS leeway to go take care of someone that's doing something off the point. In this case, like this Ana that's pumping in heals and minor amounts of damage. Like Burger, like swinging around on cart, gives like tags the ability to go deal with like an Ana. Because this blade was like almost really cool. Because you kill
Jacks were huge.
the McCree, but then you immediately try to start blading tanks,
I'm harassing Ana.
and you don't get anything else.
Kill the Ana, kill the Ana.
There was a Lucio that was like right by you that you could have taken a swing at. I mean, he might have booped you, but I think you could have still chased him.
Did he get hacked mid? Oh man, I thought he got hacked for a second. I could be wrong.
Let's
I
find
thought I
out.
saw the purple around him.
Lighting?
Nope.
Wait.
The EMP happened. He wasn't
He
hacked at all.
might get hacked here.
Yeah, right there.
He got hacked after he was like already trying to blade tanks.
Oh, I wasn't trying to explain it away. I was just saying.
Nah. And yeah, he does get hacked, but he had already dashed into the tanks and tried to blade them. When there was like a Lucio, he could have bladed instead.
Lucio's free firing. Or Ana's free firing. I'm harassing Ana.
What you're saying? What you're saying?
Kill the Ana, kill the Ana, kill the Ana.
And that's kind of another thing, Elysian. If you're gonna call for a target like that, especially an Ana that's not on the cart, you gotta say like right away where she is. And she does get booted by Burger, so like she gets massively relocated. But like Tegs is asking where she is. You gotta give him that info.
Okay. Makes sense,
Ana's
yeah.
down main.
Say, hey,
Ana's
kill
down
the Ana.
main.
Where's the Ana? I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Really monkey.
Just use, you know, the mini health packs that you say, hey, Anna, mini stairs. Like,
Below left, sorry.
that's a good one.
Or like how
Monkey.
In relation to health packs, that's a really good way to do columns.
I'm close to beat, I'm close to beat.
yeah. And then you guys are just like all over the place. That was a big shatter.
Still a great shatter.
But
Try to wait till the last thing and try to get it.
I get
And then you get
moved
boots.
out behind by the Winston there. It was gonna be okay, but then it kind of wasn't.
Yeah, it's smacked in the face.
and this is mostly just panic, no
Yeah, basically.
I
I think that's really what it was. It was kind of, everybody was panicking about stalling rather than actual team play, to say the least.
Yeah. Because like that's the way you break these like stall situations. If you get a kill and you can snowball it, because like it takes them way longer to come back to point than it takes for you guys to come back to point, even though your spawns are getting worse.
Also, something that I noticed was that Cater swapped off Brig onto Tracer, which is a good switch for stalling, but also a Brig could have Brig is really good for stalling brawl points like that because she just gets rally and then your team has a much.
I'll actually say this for that. I actually think a switch to Tracer is fine. I actually think maybe Tegs could have swapped to Brig after he bladed, because Tracer has much more burst damage and much more like sustained damage to like go take out someone. Like I said, if your team is established on cart stalling, then the Tracer does a much better job of going to like after squishies, because she has much faster mobility to get there. She has much higher burst damage to kill them.
I don't know if it'll.
And then Brig also gives extra sustain, helps your Ryan, and just punishes the shit out of Winston, to be honest. Like, Winston is such an easy kill when you have Brig, because you don't care about his bubble, and you can boop him back if need be.
Should we just switch the Brig responsibility to Tegs?
I think it's a more.
No offense to Cater, but
It's situational because everyone needs to be able to play Brig on the team. I'll be honest.
I kind of already said earlier that it really shouldn't be me to switch to Brig anyway.
Just like keep the So like basically like you should have probably both supports and both DPS all need to
They have a Zen,
a working
Hog,
knowledge of
Ana.
how to play Brig. Probably Burger as well, just in case. But like it should be a flexible. Like she's an easy, quote unquote, easy enough hero that like really, you guys should all be familiar with, and use her as like a stall mechanic if needed.
This is kind of funny right here.
Yeah. Tags
Tegs.
with the accidental spy check. Why are you in that? Why are you there, by the way? Did you just think that she would be there, or were you going there for like a reason?
He's gone now, but this is really funny.
I forgot.
I'm trying to.
I don't even think he fired at her.
No, he just. But like,
He was
I
so
was
surprised.
surprised. I was surprised that he ran into the hallway because it's like not like a Farah. Like it doesn't really make
There's
sense for him
nothing
to be there.
It's just so random. It just happens.
Yeah, and he like literally runs into her face to face, and it's just like, oh, there's a Sombra here.
You don't even do anything either. You just kind of like let her go. Here, let me listen. Let me turn up so I can listen to the comms.
Down mid. I think that's a Zenyatta.
Tex doesn't even say anything.
Zen, Hog,
Oh,
Ana,
he probably didn't notice.
or Monkey Diva.
It makes a very audible like static noise if you like touch a Sombra. And she fades
Might not
it. She
have-
comes in for
yeah.
a second and then fades out.
Yeah, I think he might not have said anything because he didn't know like exactly where she went afterwards. So it's kind of, but it's still
I don't
like
think-
nice.
And it's still like a call. Like, oh, they have a Sombra. I just touched her.
She's here, and also she's here, which means she's not with their team,
Yeah.
Right. Comps are good, yeah, comps are good.
which is actually a lot more important.
So dive with Hog, triple tank, single DPS.
Yeah, and also like
You wanna
because
wait
you're
for her
all
to
like
get a
spy
hack on
checking here, like if she gets the hack on like Elysian right now, it would be pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, this is again like you communicate there's a Sombra that she's here, and then it lets Burger spy check because look how close she is. Like
She's like right there.
Sombra's. This is a very like ballsy play to be that close to you guys. Like normally she shouldn't be able to do that. She should get spy checked and then punished. But
We'll go top right. I'm gonna go top right now. 3, 2, 1.
They're shooting down this hallway, so I think.
Oh, I missed.
and then like if she actually like pulled the trigger like she was supposed to, like she sees Tag setting up to like start flying up. She just hacks him. He gets grounded and then, lol.
They're shooting down this hallway, so I think.
Oh, I missed on the jump. They're up here.
I'm hacked.
Winston's half.
Kill the Sombra, kill the Sombra.
And then see that's why you don't play that close with a Sombra, because you just feed like that.
Nice. Go. Got me.
How did Cater die?
She got hooked. She got
It was
hooked.
on a flank around.
Oh, I remember, because I was watching first person. So she was in the back hallway. They were up on the high ground, kind of where you guys set up too. They kept spy checking that hallway. She waited, and then still went through the hallway as they were spy checking, and they got hooked and killed.
And that's why you spy check that hallway.
That's why you spy check that hallway, and then that's why you also need to, as soon as they start spy checking that hallway, if they're gonna do it consistently like that and be paranoid, you just find a different angle of attack.
Yep.
But that's for your one-on-one. We'll talk about that later.
Nice. Go. Got me. Speed down me.
Okay, so you're even though. Because you're both down Sombra.
Yeah, you're both down Sombra.
Oh shit.
Monkey. Bubble down. Okay.
Zen's
How do you get anti with the bubble up?
Careful of the hog.
No sleep dart for the anti-top right.
That's that guy.
Trying to run around. Monkey's on me. I need help with monkey.
Don't aim for the anti-top.
Monkey's dead. Fortunately, I do get some help in the end. I was really afraid that I was just gonna kind of get left out to dry there, but.
This fight was kind of a fiesta a little bit.
Yeah.
Everyone was all over the place.
Yeah, but you guys win it. Oh, also one other thing that I don't think we talked about on attack. But like this swap to Pharah, it's not just like Pharah, but one of the reasons why it works is that you have this like chunk damage going in. So like on defense, when you're playing Ashe and Genji, Ashe was like your Pharah, right? So you rely on Cater to like pump in the majority of the damage, and then that means dive tanks, and Genji can go and clean up low health targets. So here it's like the same thing, right? Except Pharah is like your cannon, so to speak. So when you're like putting together comps, also be thoughtful of like your damage output and what it looks like. And that means like Ashe, but if she's not hitting as many shots as she needs to, like you know what I mean, like things like that. When you're putting a comp together, be mindful of just going to be coming from and how things like damage boost and discord impact that.
Hey, we're still even.
Hog.
Hog hacked.
Hog hack. Kill the hog. Diva. Help Dragon on Diva.
I really like the reason you guys win this fight is because the pharmacy is so free right now.
Yeah.
And also because Dragon basically always has an out because there's a fair in the air for her.
Yeah, he gets to live.
She's hacked. Oh wait, I said
Monkey.
Zen in the back.
Kill Zen that monkey. That monkey.
It was good target calling, by the way. Going on the Zen first before the Winston.
Dave, what I know?
Get the diva. Get the diva.
I can't peek.
Alright, I'm coming back.
Oh.
Does anyone call the Widow switch? I don't think anyone calls the Widow switch for tags yet.
Careful, Diva.
Call out the widow and I'll try to dive with you.
Oh, yep.
Up, there it is. Good call.
I can't hear comms.
Oh yeah, she's up top.
Did they
I'm
use?
diving in front of Buzz.
Oh, feels bad. That was me. Never mind.
Sober.
She's up top with.
Oh, there it goes.
Bob.
Get the diva. No
I have
jets.
just about everything.
Even no jets.
Oh, I'm hacked.
That combo. Goes monkey.
And a
Fine, dude.
I'm gonna bomb this. Oh, I'm hacked again. Damn it.
The monkey. Get the
Okay,
monkey.
get back to spawn. Back to spawn right now.
It's a good call. That's
Yeah.
a really good call.
This whole fight was fine because like I really liked how like you saw the diva overextend. You guys pushed the diva. She just had bomb, which unfortunate. And then they like just pump ults into the situation because they've already blown one, and you guys get to keep all of your ults. You guys are coming on 6 ults.
Yep.
Like this whole entire engagement, this was fine.
Also, they're in your spawn, so like you're just gonna come back out the door in 10 minutes.
We are going to have all 6 ultimates to take this fight. They just used the most powerful combo. And yeah, we got this now.
We should
Should they call
EMP
what
bombs.
they still
Yep.
they just used
Yeah.
the bomb, yes.
Yeah, I'm saying we should. No.
All right.
Oh, okay, yes.
Most of them are up top.
Well,
There's
Fredo,
3 in this top.
you ready to get
right
picked on?
here. And then Anna is sitting back on cat.
Oh,
Attack
wait,
Widow.
Widow's like straight down main on the platform.
Oh yeah, I know.
All right. Number 1. That bubble. This is number 1.
I panicked when I saw the widow.
Alright.
There's all my guys that died.
There's a bunch of like cool pillars. 2, engaging when you didn't call for it, no one's ready.
I called it. I just I said I was gonna die of the widow.
Yeah, was anyone
I just didn't
ready?
get the countdown.
So you burned your
Get the
bubble
monkey down.
You
before
burned
you dove her.
you burned your bubble. You dove her with little to no warning, and then you guys had a game plan. You guys had a fight game plan. EMP bomb. And it's just like, what?
Does it happen? I think it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
EMP.
Not yet, not yet.
Oh my.
And so here again, Dragon reses tags at the cost of his own life. Considering how close you guys to spawn right now, remember that res is a 30-second cooldown. Like, that's a significant amount of time. That's an entire team fight. Think about if this res is worth it when tags is literally going to spawn like right here and just come back into the fight.
Yeah. Like calling the EMP. I like you said, there was a game plan. The problem is Cater had half information and she wasn't aware that the fight started because you guys kind of started the fight without her being prepared. If you're gonna EMP, like if you're gonna do like this whole EMP strategy with EMP bomb, Cater's gonna be the one to start the fight because she needs them to be grouped up. She needs to be the one that's gonna EMP, and then the bomb's gonna come in, right?
And then the important thing though is like the order that you call it in is Cater's gonna scout them and be like, they're grouped together. Burger, throw your bomb now.
Burger throws bomb.
Burger throws bomb and then she EMPs. That's the order. So like if you see the way that they've been doing it, that's the order that you need to do it in, so that people are
unable to escape and they die. And when the EMP happens, the bomb instantly follows up. It gives them no chance to actually like run away.
And it's like maybe they think they're safe under Winston bubble, something like that, and then EMP deletes the bubble, and then that's how you would get people with it.
I'm sorry.
I'm hacked.
I contradicted that earlier.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
that's fine.
All the way back, all the way back, all the way back.
call because
Alright, I'm gonna barrage now.
Dragon died when Burger was saying, EMP, and I was trying to kind of panic and say, no, we're down on Mercy, but I just kind of said, no, and that was a little bit too late there, so.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it was kind of like this whole, like, comedy of errors, because, like, what did Cater actually EMP? She EMP'd, like, 2 people that were, like, not directly involved in the fight. It was, like, Widow and Ana. So it's, like, they're not actually in the fight. They can still somewhat support the fight because most of their value comes from abilities that don't get disabled by EMP. That's more of a nitpicky thing. It just happened to be that unfortunate, but like, this is
That one's more on me because I deviated from the plan when I saw the widow.
yeah. It's just like when you have like these in-fight strategies like this, you gotta know how to execute it, and you gotta. I like I said, I commend you for making the plan. That was a really cool plan. It was just like, it felt clear that you guys didn't know how to actually execute the plan, you know?
And then probably swap to I don't even know. Genji, I guess.
Yeah, on Sombra still.
Genji. Yeah, stand Sombra.
Do you want me to barrage or no?
You should be picking on that widow if you can, Katie.
Yeah, I've been going into that.
Alright, cool.
There's Sombras over here. I just got detected.
Okay, no fans, let's push that. Remember what they said, let's push our advantage while we have it.
Yep.
I'm gonna bomb that
fine.
right.
There we go. So, I do like that. You guys got the Sombra out, and then you're like, alright, we gotta go, because the Sombra's not set up. You jump into a D.Va, which is like kind of unfortunate. You just immediately see the first thing, and you're just like, I'm gonna jump on top of it. But it's like, what actually happens? Not really much happens.
Yeah. Also, I think Burger throws bomb into the room thinking that there are people in there, but I think there
are not people in that room. They've all backed up and they're back towards streets or on that balcony, I think.
And so I think if you're gonna throw bomb, that was a good, like, the timing was perfect. You just have to know where they are first, and that's where Cater can help you with that. But I don't know if she would. I think she died late on the last fight.
I ran into her venom mine.
Oh, she was
Big,
back.
big, big.
Diva hacked. Diva hacked.
That was pretty cool.
Nice,
That was a cool flank.
That was a really good fight.
Diva has ult.
It's just really, it's really funny watching you in the back here, Freddy. You were obsessed with this diva.
Diva has
Actually,
ult.
at all.
Panicked.
I'm hacked.
Now Lucio.
And this is also one of those situations
text
where,
you.
yeah, there are like 3 people on point, and you're spending a lot of your time killing Diva Mech when both your DPS are already on her.
Yeah. It comes down, and I think this is why this week too, we want you guys to just really focus on yourselves and your gameplay. Your all's time to kill and the amount of damage you guys output is really low. You guys take forever to kill things. And like we can go over like doing like cool comps and like all this fun stuff, but it's like we need to learn how to like execute on our heroes first before we can start talking about like all this other special stuff we can do.
Also, things like target focus, right? Because, like, again, so Poor's bubble is over here for the diva, but like, your Mercy dies because Burger's like doing his best on point to try to like. There's no barrier on the actual cart for either of the healers, who are both being harassed by Sombra right now.
Yeah.
Diva hacked.
Kill Lucio.
I'm hacked on cart. Be careful.
But you guys win.
Sombra's so hacked back.
Is that a primal I hear after the fight has been won?
Out of the funnel.
I got.
That was when I was trying to chase down the
I bet I
Lucio,
can finish up on that Lucio's
stagger, but
Dragon, we should.
The one kill
not-
worth primal.
He also still gets back in stalls anyway, so you blew an ult for no reason.
yeah.
Lucio.
Kill Lucio, then you want to stop.
Be careful, Sombra up top. I'm using this.
It feels weird how much crazier like Dragon's Mercy looks when there's a Pharah around. It's actually insane.
Said like dragons, like your movement tech with her is really good. It is primarily like initial position and then decision making on when you go in that causes you a lot of problems, I would say.
I make poor choices.
But you
Yeah,
you look so much better when you have a Pharah as like a get out of jail free card.
Oh yeah, it's so much easier when everybody's spread out.
Yeah, right?
Yep.
Remember that, guys? Check that out. Much easier when you're all spread out. A little bit. Oh, did I go back for no reason?
Take bomb.
Nice, saved my life.
I'm
Thank
looking
you.
cart. Got cart.
Ah, I went.
Careful, Sombra.
Walter
Sombra's
up.
free priority, free hacking from above behind us.
This is the most random bomb ever.
And it
And it
still
gets
works.
2 in a DMAC.
Oh, it's
Big
so
bomb,
big.
big bomb, big bomb.
Nice, saved my life.
I'm
Thank
looking
you.
cart. Got cart.
We got it.
Behind us, Diva.
This baby diva.
I know.
Diva behind you guys.
On his head. You push Widow.
Hacked, hacked. Yep, I can grab it.
Oh, come on. Widow's one.
And then Burger and I
Got
got
her.
a little bit too aggressive
Thank
there.
you.
Nice.
Okay, back payload, back payload, back payload.
Yep.
Probably should have called a switch to Ryan Zaria here.
Where did he go after that?
Where'd who go?
Burger.
He was up there with Eli.
Oh yeah, you guys are. Oh yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
They were way up there.
Pushing.
They're killing the widow. They're killing the widow.
Alright,
Burger
sweet.
gets demeched for it though.
I wanted to be up there too. I should have called it out just to
one.
wait for me because I was back there killing the diva.
Thank you.
Nice.
Okay, back payload, back payload, back payload.
Honestly, that's fun though. 'Cause
Yeah.
you get a late kill, and then also Burger has time to farm back.
Yeah, that's fine. It's like you said, Freddy should probably be with you, but that's the correct play is like pushing up like that and taking any space and any advantage you can get. And if you get staggered kills like that, that's huge. That's just free cart push. It's free real estate.
Big bomb.
I say too. I think Tegs goes Genji for the because there's a widow, which makes sense. But at the same time,
Insist and possibly Earth could be options as well
Sombra no CT.
Yeah.
to help like
Step
stop.
top, step top.
So,
Go ahead, sir.
nah, this is kind of funny on Cater. How like Cater and someone else passed this
Okay.
Sombra.
Literally run right past her.
You touch her because you know she's there. You're like, oh, she's up top, but you've already jumped off, and you're not dealing with her. You're not like,
You don't actually demech her, like, or demech. You don't actually decloak her here either.
Yeah.
Kind of funny.
Like if you touch her, you can just like you would hopefully like turn around and like tickle her with your gun. Like one pellet decloaks her.
Widow's back right.
Instead, she just sits up here and hacks somebody.
Yeah.
All the way back right on top of the stairs.
Where?
You. It blows my mind that you guys know where she is.
And you don't go for it. And she didn't even have her translocator set. She just threw it.
She was dead.
I'm a diver from the left side.
We have mech again. And then here comes EmpT.
Got her. Got no breath. Oh, I didn't know
Good money
that.
down. I'm sorry, Dragon. I was happy.
Widow's dead. I'm running away.
Oh yeah, get out. Burger died.
Oh, monkey low.
Wait, they did boost you. They boosted you out for some reason. Burgers die. Alright, everybody else back to
It's
spot.
fine. They wasted them.
Like we said, they're playing.
We're gonna have
They're playing
EMP.
honestly pretty BM,
We have
and the fact that you guys
save
don't punish
EMP
it
for beats to come
Yeah.
out if you can.
is a shame.
Just to nullify that. Aside from that, what do we have?
Yeah, fine. I can initiate with that, or you try to confirm the kill on the Widow.
She's gonna be sitting top right by the tree, probably.
Okay,
Yeah,
tanks
they're all
and tanks up here. Tanks up here.
Tanks up top. Widow's in.
You always jump into the tanks, dude. I mean, this is actually fine. This bubble is very questionable, but like you can jump up there and like force them to like come down. This is fine. This bubble is not, but that jump is fine.
Back. She's
Walk to 110. Walk to 110.
Winston no jump. Winston no jump.
No defense.
Shredded the.
Kill the Summer. Okay, Summer has no,
Sombra no
yeah,
CT.
no E.
She's back. Yep.
Widow's right in the middle. Middle of them all.
Anna's on top of the tree.
in the middle. And I'm front. Get on point.
Big.
Another big bomb.
Nice. Got D.Va. Kill the D.Va. Do D.Va wherever.
As soon as beat ends, I'm gonna blaze.
Big.
Oh, okay, it wasn't a solo beat. It looked like it would have been.
Yeah. I thought you pulled a wins.
No,
Look at
fair.
me jumping out of frame out of nowhere.
Huge EMP. Kill the maybe D.Va.
Winston has ult.
On a dead.
Kill the monkey now. Kill the monkey now.
You're blowing 3 ult, and you get like 1 kill each.
Break that bubble.
Focus it. Focus it.
Burn monkey.
Pushing forward. They have Doom. I booped Doom up.
That was a good boop.
I booped right into tanks though, but fortunately Kato was able to hack in there.
He got hacked. And that was good though. It just delays him long enough to like not just insta gank one of you.
I
Which,
panicked when I saw
which is a
it.
good way that they like pull this whole point back, but man, this monkey lives so long.
Forever. Yep. Doom hacked.
Here's Hackett.
The Doom dies before this Winston does.
Got him. Get the monkey. Get the monkey.
They have
Mora.
probably didn't.
You didn't need
I
that
understand.
beat.
Mora has
I understand why you use it, but it actually would have been better if you'd held on to it later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw them like those three, I believe it was.
I'm curious where this.
Coming in.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, what are you saying? I'm saying something else, unrelated.
Oh, yeah, I just kind of panic beated. I saw 3 of them rushing the point, and I figured, hey, we can use this to kind of, more sustainability and kill them before they kill us, forehead. Unfortunately, it was more just kind of wasted.
Yeah.
But
So let's watch how you guys lose this fight, because Burger, if I recall, actually gets a massive bomb here.
Sombra fixed me.
2 different bombs.
Oh, mine's bigger.
Yeah, Dragon's dead. We get 3.
Get the Mora. Get the Mora.
And
I think this is.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Why did I jump?
Yeah, Doom.
Oh, I saw the Doomfist.
So I think this is where if you had saved beat, because your mercy just died.
They have a hamster.
Like if you had beat for that,
Lucio 1, Lucio 1, Lucio 1, Lucio 1. Oh, Lucio's so low.
probably
How did
wouldn't
that
have.
do?
That is unbelievable.
Yep.
He should.
The most interesting thing about that fight is DSY got online. Nah. Man. There's a 3k bomb, and then the Doomfist just ganks.
I don't think it was just the Doom. Like he finished the kills, but they pumped out a lot. Like they had better target focus and just pumped out a lot more damage.
Yeah.
Than you guys did.
Yep. So, any questions, thoughts, concerns, ultimates?
Right there, point 3, like, going up against the comp they had, which was, what, Widow, Sombra, Winston, Diva, Lucio, Ana, would a Ryan Zarya comp be better against that, or should we have stayed on that?
I think Ryan Zarya is, like, it, and this is just my opinion as someone, like, playing this map, I prefer to play Ryan Zarya in this point, just because, like, it's hard as a Winston to just, like, approach this point. It's a little bit, like, sure there's this corner, but it's really open, and there's not a lot of paths for you to get around and, like, engage safely without, like, YOLO jumping in and hoping stuff happens. I think Ryan Zarya is fine. You could also play, like, Ryan Diva.
Yeah. I think you keep the Diva, and then also, again, controversial opinion from me that most people would disagree with. Against Widow, personally, I prefer Orisa just because you can pressure her so hard on Orisa. Like, you can basically disable her. Because, like, Widow doesn't actually have a lot of good sight lanes on defense here. Like, there's not a lot of high ground where you don't, and even if she's on there, you can halt her off. And you, like, there's not a lot of places where she can hide and take pot shots at your team. Like, you're always going to see her and where she's shooting you from. So it's also Risa, you kind of just, like, shoot her in the face, and then she has to move at least, or, like, stop for a few seconds. And that can, like, clear up a lot of space for your team, or open up the opportunity for, like, tanks to go in and gank her, right, when she's, like, low.
And
yeah, the problem with running Ryan is, again, like, he's not, like, with a Widow, like, Widow's not going to be in his range, and he can't do damage if he's holding shield, and if he's not holding shield, someone's going to get shot.
yeah. But, like, when they switch to this Doomfist, for example, let's see when they actually do it. I think they do it when they start stalling.
Yeah.
But also better against Doomfist, I want to say, in general.
Yeah, they're on Widow for, like, a minute.
Winston.
Alright.
On Widow for...
They're on Doomfist for a minute. But yeah. I also, like, as playing off tank, I prefer to run a Zarya rather than a Diva into a Doomfist, but like I said, this is kind of a minute. There's only a minute left. It's like, it's a weird switch.
Yeah, because, like, you're probably not going to get a lot of value out of Zarya. Like, you're going to be able to protect your team.
You're not going to build Grav in time unless you're, like,
it could be really worth it.
absolutely insane.
Unless you're Gaguri.
Yeah. But
yeah. Just like with Matrix and burst damage and the mobility, like there's a couple of, you can go either way is what we're trying to say, but Diva's a little bit faster.
Okay.
yeah. You do have to, if you do play a Rhine Diva, the healers do kind of need to pump more resources into the Rhine than normal, just because he gets pushed a lot easier without a Zarya, but it's again, the answer might actually be Orisa, as weird it is to play her on attack when you're not sitting on top of the cart.
But like you have a Lucio and you have a Mercy, so I think it'll actually be easier for both of you to keep an Orisa up than a Rhine because Mercy has to like follow him around, and again because they're playing this Widow and or Doomfist, or like they're playing a Widow that goes Doomfist, and Rhine's like a close range character, right? Then she's kind of stuck talking to Rhine, be in the middle of the fight, which is not where she wants to be. Whereas Orisa kind of can set up. She has like the shield to protect her, and anyone can use it to shield dance. And then you're also just like you don't need as many resources because you have fortify. Pressure the spawn doors better because you know where they're coming from.
Yeah, and it's again like you can approach as Orisa kind of like an easy way where you shield. When your shield cooldown is getting low or you're ready, you can fortify to push forward to a new position and then redeploy shield in a new, more forward position. And you slowly take space that way.
And then once you get onto the cart, it's very difficult. It would be a lot harder for them to move you off.
It's stupidly hard to like dislodge you from cart.
Especially with dive tanks.
And while you're getting pocketed.
Reasonable.
And your gun does like... When they limited the spread too, like you poke a lot better, and that gun in general is just does a lot of damage.
If you can hit headshots with her gun and like
melt people.
Like if you pull, so a couple of things like that you can do with Orisa here: pull Winston out of his bubble so that people can kill him, and then shoot him in the face, debug Diva fast, pressure their Ana so that she has to go back to spawn to get healed up. Lucio, like there's like yeah, I don't know. I really like Orisa, so I kind of stand her.
I love Orisa. That was my second golden gun. It's right when she came out.
Yeah, so like I personally I feel that she's underutilized by pro players. I understand why, because it's like if you're all mechanically skilled, it's easier to play around her and her cooldowns.
Yeah, it's. Orisa shines in like these situations where like the teams are a little bit less coordinated. Like Ryan in this situation needs to be like coordinated with his team, and he relies on his team much more than an Orisa does. And Orisa, as long as like she's getting healed, she's pretty like self-sufficient.
I would say is that Orisa has a very predictable playstyle because like you kind of have to be in certain places to make sense, right? So it's like you're not really gonna like surprise anyone with what you do on Orisa other than hitting maybe more headshots than they're expecting. But if you're like a pro team, it's, you know, like being predictable doesn't win you fights, but sometimes you just need an Orisa and like the crazy shields. And then also it just, because a lot of stall heroes are like Mei and Doom, like Hammond, and they're all things that like she's good at helping to deal with just by like halting them away from their targets or like and then just having that like punishing power with her gun.
Any other questions?
Why am I a piece of shit?
Me too.
Because you play too much Call of Duty. Next question.
Bullshit.
Wow.
Now that's a lie.
Called out.
If you want to know my dedication, I'll send you a picture right now, buddy.
Show me.
Look at my dedication.
Let me see your dedication.
On my monitor right next to me. Hold on. Hold on. I'm an old man. It takes a long time for me to upload things. Hold on. Oh wait, let me make sure I do it in the right channel.
Oh yeah, I wanted to bring this up the other day when you guys were talking about like Chinese contenders and those weird ass comps they play. Another weird thing about Chinese contenders is like they play in a bubble because they play on their own servers. Their metagame evolves way differently than like Korean and Western Overwatch. Also, like especially stemming from like their early reliance on like a pocket DPS, which is why like you see a lot of McCree in China. Their metagame is weird, and they play these really interesting comps, but I also think at the same time they don't play like a lot of goats in general.
Right.
I think the cool thing about Chinese contenders though is like you said, they play in a bubble, but they also, because it is a bubble, they kind of like come up, like they're more willing to experiment, I think, with like weird comps than a lot of other like just because it's like, if you're in like a game with stakes in it, like you're not necessarily going to want to take a risk, but
It's more complex thinking when they think of these strategies.
yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? It's just like they come up with these weird comps, but they also play them in a way that's like tailored to those comps, and it takes people by surprise, and that's why it works.
Yeah.
There's a reason for everything they do. There's nothing just thrown out there for nothing.
Yeah.
So like it might look weird, but like okay, so just this comp that you just posted, right? So it's like you have 3 flankers that can all play off of health packs. Hammond can also play off of health packs. And then Zarya kind of probably just plays with Anna most of the time.
Zarya gets like stupidly charged off of the Hammond, and then she's a 4th DPS.
The Hammond and the Doomfist and the Genji. She's a 4th DPS.
She carries a lot of the damage. It's
or creates space for like protects Doom when he goes in.
Yeah. This is like the Doomfist is a main tank like plan where he like punches in, he bubbles. He gets like 1,000,000 shield and you get 1,000,000 charge. And everyone's all displaced because of Doomfist, you just get to push into them.
And everyone's panicking because of Doomfist and Sombra and Genji wrecking havoc and Hammond wrecking havoc that your Anna just like heals for free.
See, looking at this comp makes me wish Doomfist was a tank. He'd be an amazing tank. If he didn't one-shot people and was a DPS, he would be a stupidly fun tank.
It makes so much more sense as a tank too.
That's a tangent for a different time though.
And
I see your dedication, Freddie.
I think Hammond kind of took over that part of the design too. Like they would be too similar if they changed him now.
Feels bad.
Yeah.
Alright, any other questions, comments, concerns? There's only 2 of you, very low turnout tonight, which is a shame.
I tried.
Considering somebody's playing Overwatch right now.
I know.
5 people said they were free. Oh, it's probably Moon.
It is Moon.
He wasn't here, but...
He wasn't here.
Damn, I wasn't here for the last one.
It would have been nice for him to join.
It's because you have dedication, as you've just proven to me.
Exactly. Sure, I love fragging noobs in Blackout. But I play serious on no guns.
Serious. Alright. Everyone's homework this week. It's pretty simple.
Play games.
Yeah, play games. But like just focus on yourself. Let's not think about team comps and doing fun I wouldn't say not fun. Doing off the wall things or strategizing. Lyris and I are gonna take that over. We're gonna make you guys just kinda run like more meta comps. But
probably. Sorry, what were you saying?
I think you guys in general need to tighten up on positioning and mechanics.
Yep,
for supports. Yep. Oh, I was gonna say for supports positioning 100% and just like decision making in general. Because if you die, you pretty much lose the fight. Like 80.
Yeah. You guys are getting like a longer break this week because of Thanksgiving. There's no scrim next week. So you guys, give or take a couple days, whatever you guys do with your family, you guys should have a little bit more time to just, grind out yourself.
Right.
This is self-improvement vacation.
And
I might actually solo queue for like 6 hours one of these days.
Gasp.
I have 4 days off after Tuesday.
You might want to die, but good luck. Also, sorry, I know I keep cutting you off.
I already want to die.
The other thing I wanted to remark on is that I think I've kind of mentioned this to you guys, but what I think would be helpful too is just like probably we just moving forward, at least for the time being, have Numbani on the map every week, and then that way for like the planning team too, like just like learn so that you don't have to think about the map, and then you can work on like your comms and coordination and space and all of these concepts. Really focus on Numbani and like play it, and then that way I think it'll also make it easier for you to carry it over into other maps that you play in terms of like using it as a base for understanding concepts of like space and like testing things out.
As kind of divided as Numbani makes people feel as a map, some people like it, some people really, really hate it. I think it's a very good map of showcasing like aspects of Overwatch.
Yeah, and different playstyles that you can use on it too.
Yeah, it's by far the most like not solved map, I think.
I think Rogue was the only team that had like game plan that was like super solid for Numbani.
Yeah. And the amount of interesting things you can kind of do on defense too, where you can either play a dive defense or you can play like a bunker comp on top.
Play Torb.
You can play Torb.
You can
There's
play
so
Sim.
many, or I mean,
There-
so many times.
There's so many. There's so much room for
And play
activities.
Pharmacy. Yeah, like you can play a lot. It's like Numbani is actually surprisingly flexible considering that it's like
A map with a lot of high ground.
I kind of hate it, but it's actually surprisingly flexible. And also, I think like playing the same map every week, you're gonna hate it by the end. You probably already do.
You will never
But
want to play this map again, but I think
But
you guys will learn a lot.
I think you guys will learn a lot, and also I think what it gives you the opportunity to do is instead of playing different maps every week, like you can think about, okay, last week we tried this and it didn't work. What can we change this week to like see if it runs differently? And really kind of like focus on just strat or just comp or just like whatever, instead of like having to plan out a completely new map every single week, which I think definitely gets tiring. Like it's a lot of work.
Yeah. It's a lot of work only to get like destroyed by a med. Hello? There we go. It's a lot of work to like only just get run over by goats or something stupid like that, right?
Yep.
And then this way too, I think you guys will be able to test out like, okay, if like this week they ran dive into us and here's what we had trouble with. Next week maybe that team will run goats into us and like here's what we did. Like, you know what I mean? Like it'll give you more experience against different comps on the same map so that you're like something is kind of like anchoring the different decisions that you make and you're not like trying to adjust for the map as well.
Yeah. It provides that consistency for like you guys to evolve a strategy. So like you'll play like a generic comp on Numbani and be like, oh, like we had trouble with this. We could tailor the comp to do this instead. If they bring something else, it's like, all right, we got beat by both these things. What do we do now? It's kind of like a trial and error process, but you have a much more consistent base to start with because it's always the same map.
And also, I think one other thing that it'll help with is that you guys will learn this map, hopefully, and then I think that'll show you, like, for the roles that you play, what you need to know on every map to be able to play it with the same kind of that you develop on Numbani.
Alright, makes sense.
Alright. Yeah. Homework is it's self-improvement weekend, kids.
Work on your aims.
Work on yourselves. Yo,
Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, just hit me up. Eli, we'll play some games.
I'm not going home. I'm not doing anything for Thanksgiving, so I will be available if anyone wants to.
Friendsgiving, me and you, bro.
Friendsgiving.
I'm gonna be at the house with your parents. We're gonna cook a turkey. After that, we're playing games.
Yeah.
So.
Be a Friendsgiving. If anyone wants like, oh, I want to work on like this hero, or like I need to learn like this specific tech, I'm perfectly cool with like sitting down and like custom games and helping you out. Like Kater, for example, who doesn't know how to. I know she's getting changed, but you don't know how to combo tracers on Brig. I'm perfectly glad to just sit with you in a custom game and let you just shield bash me over and over and over again until you get it down.
While he kills you in the meantime.
While I kill you. It'll be sweet.
You're gonna hate him by the end.
I know. And I'm gonna hate Brig. But
I've tried training against you. It's not that fun.
did it help
Then do
though?
it. Probably not, because we mostly train on stuff that I don't play. I'll be
Sure.
honest, we mostly played a lot of stuff that I don't actually play, like Farah, for instance. Like, I still can't really stay in the air with her.
Oh, come on. If I can do
I
it, you
am
can
not. I am not even kidding. So here's the sad thing for me and Farah is that I can either fly on her or I can shoot on her. I cannot do both simultaneously.